Alright there, welcome back to the channel. What we're going to do today is, if you've seen in the last episode, as I had got this in a million bits, I explained to you what was going on with this new bike and how it was a bit of a... She's a nice bike, but it's not been very well kept, let's put it that way. So I told you all the faults and problems I've got with it, which is quite a few. But the main aim at the minute is I just want to get this thing running again. So I want to get out and I want to try it. I want to, before I go mad with it, I want to make sure the engine's right and it's going right. But anyway, the main problem we had, one of the big problems, was the state of that fuel tank. Which you can see there, it's on its side. So what we're doing today is we're going to use this stuff, this POR 15 fuel tank sealer. But to do that properly, which I've got to do it because otherwise it's a waste of time, so we have to go through a whole process of doing it. So to start with, we've got to use this, which is a cleaner degreaser, all from the same company as a whole kit. But anyway, 3 stages to it. To this one, to start with, we have to dilute this with some water, put it in the tank, swill it round, leave it in a few different positions, which is going to take for ages. So I'm not sure if we're going to get time to do it all today. This might be over a few days. Anyway, once that's done, then the metal prep goes in. That then etches and gets the paint, the metal on the inside of the tank all ready for the paint to stick to it. So then you put that in, swill it round, leave it to do its thing, drain it out to make the tank all perfectly dry. And then we're going to pour that in, swill it all around, then leave that to dry, and the tank then has to sit for a number of days before you can put the fuel in. But we'll go into that bit in a bit more detail in a bit. But the full fuel tank to start with, as you've seen in the last video, if you've watched it, that still had its original liner in it, which was flaking away and was looking horrible. So what I've done is I've capped off the outlets on the tank, made a couple of little plates, bolted them in, and I poured some cheapo paint remover in there. And over the last week I've been tipping it around and moving it about, leaving it for a day, moving it into another position, so it's gone all around the tank. Hopefully it started to pull the old liner off. I don't know whether it has or not. This might be complete non-starter, but it sounds like there's some water in there. I don't know if the microphone's picking up, but that paint stripper wasn't that runny, so I don't know quite what's going on in the tank. But let's get the panels off. We made a little thing there. It's weird. Anyway, let's get it off. Let's see what's happened inside the tank. Hope it'd be nice. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, don't know what that was. Be nice if there's a whole load of just paint ready to come off and it's ready to go, but we'll see. Right, let's get it open, let's have a look. Right, so I've undone the bolts on here. I've not looked in here yet, so I'll pop this cover off and we'll see what the paint strip has done to this. Ooh. Ooh. Well, that's the old paint. There's a lot of water. I don't know where that. Let me just show you. Look inside that. I'll try not to get a shadow in there. But there's a lot of water in there. I don't know where that's all come from because I emptied the tank out. Right. That's good, I think, because as you can see, that's a lot of the old paint there. If the camera's picking it up, but that's the old paint. I'm going to try and tip that into a bucket now and just open everything up and just see what happens. Right, I tried tipping that out so you could see, but it didn't really work, so I won't put that in. But anyway, what we're left with inside of that tank is it is all blistering off. Let's see. Can you see? Oh, it doesn't help because it's... Let's get a torch. 1 second. Right, let's get a torch. Just try and, you can, hopefully you can see, there we go, that's better. It is all blistering off. Like I said, there was a lot of water in there. I don't know where that had come, whether that was, there was a blister in the sealer and it was hidden behind it, I don't know. But anyway, now I've got to try and get all that out. I think what I'm going to do, let's put it back down there. I think what I'm going to do now is fill that back up with water. I think, seal it back up. I'm going to chuck a box of screws or something in there and give it a good shake up and see if I can start getting that paint to come off. Yeah, hot water, I think, and some screws in there. Yeah, so I'm thinking while I'm doing it, so it's not very good for you. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to fill it up with water, put the things back on, fill it up with some water, chuck a load of screws in there. I'm going to shake it and hopefully get all that loose and get it off. But anyway, whatever the result, I shall show you in a bit. As you saw there, my awesome dancing, I've filled it full of water, hot water, chucked some screws and bolts and stuff in there. I don't know really much how good it did, but anyway, it's all full of water. It's looking pretty grim. And now there's a lot of the paint floating in the water. Let's have a quick show you if I can. Let's just turn this. That might, excuse the humming. You can't really see that. Oh, you see up there? Anyway, there's lots of it floating in there. Let's tip it out, let's see what we get out. Right then, well, this has turned out quite well. I'm quite pleased at how this is going. It's better than expected. So, what I've done, as you've seen, I've flushed it out, and I've got the wet vac down, I hoovered all the crap out, I then filled it up with water again, I did the shaky dance, did it all again, I've drained all that out, wet vacked it out, and I'm actually surprised how much of the old paint has come out. It's a bit of a relief really, because I was a bit worried that it was going to be a nightmare getting all that paint out, but the majority of it is out. There's some little bits on the, like this surface here, you can't get it to rest and get it to anything to sit on there to clean it off, so I've had to go in there through the filler neck and scrape some of the paint off, but it's come off. There's just little bits and bobs about, so tiny little bits. But let me just show you inside the tank. Let's see if we can, you can see in there, I mean that's the metal and it's come up really well. Unfortunately you can't quite see it on camera. I'm probably not gonna, that's probably a waste of time. Let's just see if we can get the light in there. Hang on. I don't know if that's going to make any difference. But yeah, it's, you can see the rust where it's flash rusting already, and probably what was there originally. Let's put you back there. So I'm looking at the time now, and to try and get all this degreaser stuff done, and then this, the etcher, and then painted, I'm not going to do it today. I've got to be realistic. If you do it properly, which I want to do it properly, I'm not going to rush it now at this point to have it fail again, because it's just flipping pointless, and I've learnt my lessons doing that too many times. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix some of this degreaser up. Now it's 50-50 with water, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to empty half of that out, because it says to do it, I think you've got to do it twice. Read what I've read on the tin on the instructions. So it says on the instructions, let's see if I can find it very quickly. Mix 1 part of the cleaner degreaser with hot water and pour into the tank. Roll the tank around, then place in different positions every 2 hours so the solution can cover the inside surfaces. So obviously we've got that way, we've got on the back, we've got it on that side, we've got it laying flat. So that's 8 hours. So I've seen people on YouTube, they're saying every hour, but I'm going to go with the instructions. Seal the solution every surface. Repeat this step until the solution comes out clean. So, like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to split that in half, mix half of it, pour that in, do it that way, pour that out, and then do it again with the remaining half. Hopefully it should come out clean then, because but then what I'm going to do, so I'm going to do the first step today. That's going to be half of it. I'm going to do that today. Then I'm going to mix the next lot up, and I'm probably going to leave that in for a few days, but just keep turning it maybe in the morning before I go work, come back, turn it in another position, do it that way. And then drain it out and flush it all out. Maybe just drain it out and flush it sort of next weekend. This is Sunday, so I'm probably looking at doing the rest of it next weekend. Now, not too worried about it flash rusting, because reading the instructions for the metal prep, that does say it will take off any surface rust, and this has got, I did read the instructions online, but this will give it, let me have a quick look, what did it say? It gives it a coating. Let's just have a quick look. Here we go, a zinc phosphate coating. So that's going to eat into it. That's going to get rid of any surface rust that flash rusts there. I'm struggling to say that, flash rust. Oh, easy. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll do that. We'll get it all cleaned today during the week. That one next weekend, and then also paint it. Unfortunately, it's then I've got to leave it a few days before I can put the fuel in. Right. So I've just been in the kitchen. I've nicked the missus's measuring jug, which means I'm going to be in trouble later. I'll have to nip down a bit and then get another one. So I've poured half of that in, so 946 millilitres. So I've poured about 500 ml in. I think this is American because it's 32 fluid ounces. When you look on the website, it's all American stuff. Anyway, so I've poured about half of it in there. I borrowed the kettle earlier for rinsing that out, so I'm going to take this back in the kitchen in a bit as well. Good job the missus is out. So I'll mix that up. So we've got about a litre there. And I'm going to pour this in the tank. A little bit down the tank as well. Should use the funnel, never mind. Right, that's in there. So I'm going to put the lid back on, and then I'll do the shaky shaky dance again. Right, so we do the shaky shaky dance again. So it's all been shook up. Now it's just time. So I'll leave it in there. We'll move it all around, do it all the different positions, and then empty it out and see what we get. Right. Right, this has taken nearly all day. Just to do this one process. So I've just popped the lid off there. It has been in another position as well, but I've just popped this open to have a look, and I'll show you. To be honest with you, I'm quite surprised. It's not that dirty. I mean, it's probably because I have rinsed this a few times beforehand, but let me just show you quickly. Can't really see, let's flick this other light on. The water does seem, in the cleaner, it's reasonably clear. Still got bits of the paint in it. Let's just tighten that up. Still got bits of the paint in it. Excuse the wobbliness there. Still got bits of paint in it, but it is a lot clearer than I thought it was going to be. But like I say, it has been flushed out a few times beforehand. So I'm just going to clean that out now with a wet vac, and then I'll give this another go. And I'm just, like I said before, I'm probably just going to do that now over the process of the week, and then leave it to dry out. and then I'm going to do the next lot in a few more days at the weekend again. So anyway, I'm going to cut back in with you guys. I'm not going to show you me degreasing and cleaning it all again. I'll show you next time when we're going to do the metal prep. So we can get the metal prep done and then we'll get it painted. Right, it's now a week later. And what I've done is I've put the second dose of the cleaner in, and I've been turning that through the week. So I put it on, what day is it? Sunday. So I put this in Tuesday. I've been coming in the garage in the morning and in the evening, just twisting it a bit and twisting it a bit and moving it about. And there is actually quite a bit. In fact, there's more. I've got more dirt in this one than I did in the first go. Maybe it's because it's had longer to soak, but there's a heck of a lot of dirt in there, which I'm surprised about because last one was fairly clear. Now I would show you it, but I don't think it's going to show a lot because it's all frothy because I've just given it a good shake up. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to vac this out. I'm going to take the top off, the blank on the top. I'm going to take this outside. I'm going to stick the hose in it and flush it all out and keep flushing the water out. In fact, we'll time-lapse a bit of that so you can see what I'm doing. I think that would be a good idea. But yeah, I'm surprised how much dirt is still in that. Rusty bits as well. There is a bit of rusting in the tank, but like I said before, this metal prep should neutralise all that and get rid of it all. So anyway, let's clean this out. Let's do some time-lapse. Right, as you see from that time-lapse, that took a bit of washing out, and what I did in the end is I got the wet vac, filling it full of water, swirling it around and getting all the bits out. And the problem I had is the old tank lining, the amount of bits of that were still floating around in there. It wasn't so much getting the water clean, it was getting all the bits out. So anyway, that took quite a while to get all those little bits out. So what I've done now is that's all done. Oh, we're back in here. Been and borrowed the missus' hairdryer, wedged that in the top, and I'm just going to blow that around for quite a while now just to dry it all out, because it says in the metal prep to make sure it's all dry before you start. So what I'm going to do is dry that out. We're going to bung it all up again, pour this in, shake it around, and it says you've got to twist this around every 20 minutes. So I'm going to leave that. That's probably going to be in for, you know, probably a couple of hours. So what I'll do, once all that's done, I've got to flush it out again, put the hairdryer in, dry it all out again, go through all that process again, and then, so I'll do all that, because you won't want to see all that again. I'm going to cut back in before we actually get to the good bit, which we've all been waiting for, and I've been waiting for ages, and actually putting the paint in. So we'll see you in a bit when we're ready to pour the paint. Right. So I did the last step, which was the metal prep, which I said I was going to do. So you know how that went. Poured it in, cleaned it all out, swirled it out, and cleaned the tank round again for the God knows how many times. It's getting a bit boring, that one now, but let's just show you inside the tank. Look in there, and it's looking quite good. It's nice. You can see that we've got back to all the original metalwork. Now, I'm quite happy with that. Let's put you there. I'm quite happy with how that's looking now, to be honest. Whether it's like that the whole way round, I don't know, because the funny shape of the tank, I think this would be a quite difficult tank to get that clean all the way round. But there was still, even with the metal prep in there, still pulling bits of the old tank liner out, albeit smaller bits. But so I've had to give it a real good clean out. And then going again with the hairdryer to dry it all out. That's been in there for the last 20 minutes drying it all out, so it's nice and warm, it's all dry. And now we've got this mixed up. Give that a good stir up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cap this off again and we'll pour it in the top, and I'll show you me pouring it in. So here we go. This is it. The paint is going in after all this. This has taken ages. Now to get down to this. So I'm using the funnel. Hopefully I don't spill this everywhere. In it goes. So that's it, it's in. What I'm going to do now is cap this off, and I'm going to stand here for a while, keep turning it and turning it and turning it, because I want to make sure it gets into every single little hole that it can do, and hopefully this is going to do the job. So I'm going to cap this off, I'm going to leave this overnight, and then I'll open it up tomorrow and I'm going to show you what it looks like. Hopefully we've got some good results. Fingers crossed, because this has taken ages and ages and ages. But like I say, it's always in the preparation, and I've had to keep my patience and do it properly. So anyway, cap this off, we'll catch you in a bit so you can see what this looks like inside when it's done. Right, well, it's the next day. I've given that tank, it's dried overnight. While that was drying, I was doing some other bits and bobs to the bike. I'm quite pleased with this. I'll give you a quick look inside, and then I'll tell you a few things I've noticed with it. So you see in there, it looks quite nice, very good. I'm quite pleased with that. We'll just we'll tip it on its side. So hopefully you can see in there. I mean, that has come up really nice. So a few things I noticed with it. Now it does say to leave it, to tip it all in, pour it around, leave it half hour for it to settle, and then drain any excess out. So with this, obviously because of the shape of the tank and the size of it, I thought there won't be any excess. I'll keep rolling it around, it'll all stick. But to be fair, when I kept tipping on its side here, there was a great big pool kept gathering. So I had to get one of the kids, I don't know if you've got kids or if you've not, but when you get some of the medicine, you get these little syringes to give them medicine in these days. Instead of little spoons that we used to have, you get these little syringes. So I actually used that and sucked it back out and popped it back in there. I was expecting it to be a bit thicker. But anyway, it's nice, it's done the job, it looks really good. And I did give the tank a good roll round. I stood there for a good 10 minutes, keep rolling the tank around into all the positions to try and make sure I'd got as much of it covered as I could. And it seems to have worked. So now I've got to leave it, I think it's 96 hours, so it's 4 days I've got to leave it for that to properly go hard before I put fuel in it. So yesterday I made this back up to go back in the tank. So it's got a new fuel pump on it, new fuel filter, that's ready to go back in. Bought new gaskets for everything. The filler cap, I've got a new gasket in the top of the filler cap. So yeah, I can build this back up now. I can get the bike all put back together, and then Thursday I should be able to pour some fuel in it and fire it up, see if it's worked, which I hope it has. So anyway, I'm quite pleased with that. Definitely, I mean, we'll see what happens when I fire it up, but although it's a long drawn out process of doing that properly, especially if you've got a lining already in the tank, that was a bit that was taken so long, I think, more than anything, was getting all that out, making sure it's all, you know, you want that old lining out first really. But it's taken me a long time to get the lining out, do all the proper preparing the way that it says to with that kit. But you know, I'm quite pleased with the way that looks now. I'm hoping that I'll get a good amount of use out of this. I should imagine that's going to last for quite a while. Do I think it lasts forever? No, I don't, but I think that's going to get a good, you know, quite a few good years of use out of it. So we'll see what happens. That'll be it for this video just about. I think in the next video I'll have this all back together. I was going to film me putting some of it back together, but to be honest with you, I didn't film it coming apart, so it's a bit pointless. So what I'm going to do, get the tank built back up, get the bike put back together. There are some other bits I've still got to do to it, the leaking front shock, head bearing and the rear shock, but for the time being I want to get it running right. So I'm going to get it put back together. I'm going to get it to the stage where it's ready to fire up, and I think what I'll do is I'll actually film, the next video will be me starting it up, and I'll probably see if we can do a little video on balancing the throttle bodies. I'll explain more what I've done to the throttle bodies in the next video, but yeah, I think that's what it will be. But if you've managed to watch this video all the way through, thanks a lot, and see how we get on with it in the next video. Does it work? Have we got rid of all these issues it's having? Anyway, thanks a lot, and see you again.
Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days.